move. Because if you try to show up, and again, going against that Denver Nugget team that just got better, if you're trying to show up with, the same similar team, probably less talented in my opinion than last year, because Lou Williams hasn't been playing as great. I like Serge, and I like the way Serge is playing, but I feel like, there's a difference between him and Montrez. So I just think that right now the Clippers are in that position, if you want to say that, because you don't know about the health of the two Laker stars. I think the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets, in my opinion, are the two teams that I would really look at to make those types of runs if it's not the Lakers.
All right, well, here is the deal officially. Lou Williams is involved. He is on his way to Atlanta. You guys didn't mention the Jazz or the Suns in that conversation.
The Jazz and the Suns, there's still a lot more to prove. And I know the Jazz, even Rudy Gobert said it himself. We act like we have to go and do something in order for people to believe in us. So I'm just, I'm echoing that. I believe that they have all the talent. They are one of the best teams, and they have been all year, but they have to go and do it in order to make believers.
Yeah, they have talent, but the other teams just have more talent.
Perk, what about you? Where do you think this move puts the Clippers with Rajon Rondo coming in and Lou Will coming out?
Well, first of all, shout out to Lou Will. He gets to eat all the
lemon pepper chicken he wants.
Hey, do you, Lou? But listen, with Rajon Rondo coming in, now you have that voice in the locker room where Ty Lue don't have to be the voice and the leader all the time. And we all know, all three of us on here that are champions know how critical it is for guys to be on here and have a guy or guys in the locker room to police ourselves. And that's what Rondo is going to do. He's going to hold everyone accountable, including himself. That's what the type of leader you need, and you can't argue with him. You know why? Because he's a two-time NBA champion. The only other person on that team that can say something is Kawhi Leonard. Everybody else really has to fall in line.
Yeah, and look, Serge Ibaka, obviously also a champion. So
Serge. My apologies, Serge. My bad. He's been modeling so much, I forgot all about it.
He's very fancy. Things are happening here. Just 25 minutes to go until the deadline. Kyle Lowry's still on the board. Victor Oladipo still on the board. Josh Hart from the Pelicans tweeting, refreshing my feed every 5 seconds. Josh, you know what?
From a guy with a lower center of gravity, so it hurts a little bit more.
Push him in his lower back.
Richard mentioning porn and being light-skinned in the same 25 seconds. Again,
you just did it back to back.
Trying to get fired before this show is over. Hey, let's get back to the fact this is a trade deadline show because, get me some smoke, Get me. Make it happen. According to Woj, the Hawks and Clippers discussing a trade for Rajon Rondo, sources telling ESPN. 40 minutes left until the deadline. Perk, you have been on this train for a month now, willing this to happen, trying to speak it into existence. Why do you think this is the answer for the Clippers? Because they have had so many issues at point guard.
Because they don't have a leader, Rachel, and they should have signed Rondo this offseason, but that's neither here or there. But Ty Lue wants Rondo. They have a great relationship from the Boston days, and he's going to take pressure off of Kawhi Leonard and PG. PG asked for a bigger role. He wanted the ball in his hands more, but he can't handle that. So they need a guy like Rondo that's going to set them up so that they could be who they are. And that's scorers and wing defenders, him and Kawhi. So I love it if they could land Rajon Rondo.
Robert, we've seen the Clippers struggle in some games in the clutch. You have guys who are so high talent, like Kawhi Leonard, like PG. But it just has felt so much that they haven't had someone to organize their offense in those key pressure moments. Rajon, not the player he was with Boston and Ty Lue, but do you think, just won a title last year, he's still the answer in a place like that?
Yes, the IQ is above beyond any player in the NBA because he gets you in the right position to make you score. He gets you in the right position to play defense. He does all these little things that, a lot of guys don't notice, but he would make that Clipper team much, much better because not Paul Pierce.
It's all close.
PG is the guy that he says he wants to handle rock. Come off some screens, do little things to make the game easier for you. And Kawhi, same thing. You two guys don't need to handle the rock. But let Rondo do that. Make the game easier for you so you can score and save some rest for the defensive end.
Well, isn't it funny? We're looking at, let's go and look at Kyle Lowry, the name that we started off with, a veteran point guard.
Yep.
And who we're trying to get him, championship teams or teams that feel like they're in a running for a championship. Look at what Chris Paul did at 35 years old with the Phoenix Suns. There is a value to veteran point guards that know how to run teams that command respect, not just from players, but also other teams, officials and coaching staffs. So Rondo's won 2 championships. Kyle Lowry has won a championship. Chris Paul's been one of the best point guards, and look at the impact that they've had. So yes, is the Rondo move a great deal? Yes, I think they should have got him, and it's great to have teams valuing that type of veteran leadership.
Well, I mean, this is contradiction at its finest, what RJ is doing. I mean, he literally just tried to kill me for talking about going in for Kyle Lowry, 35
in Miami,
and then now you want to sit up here, and the Lakers, and now you want to sit up here and praise how PG and everybody else are changing the game. I mean, you can't straddle the fence.
Yes, you can.
You feel this way or you feel that way. I mean, that's what it is.
Have you not been paying attention, Perk, to RJ's entire broadcast career so far? Absolutely, he can straddle the fence.
Yes.
The man is a specialist.
No, see, this Perk is calling me out on something that is not accurate and not real. What I was saying is that when you look at Schroeder is very, very good. Do you want to give him up for a rental? Do you want to give up Tyler Hero, who's 21 years old, and if it doesn't work, Kyle Lowry can go sign with somebody else and you lost Tyler Hero?
Well,
that's what I was saying. It's not that the veteran leadership isn't valued or that he's not great. I just don't, you got to be careful what you give up for him.
But RJ, that's not a valid point because Schroeder's in the last year of his deal, so he's also a rental right now.
27 years old.
He is also a rental right now. It's not a guarantee that if the Lakers keep him, he's going to sign back.
That's fair.
They've been back and forth trying to get a contract extension and haven't agreed on it. So he's a rental as well, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. Don't sass me.
I don't get sassy.
Sass me. Sass me.
Talk about.
Can you tell that these guys were former teammates? Because I can, for sure. And by the way, Perk, excellent salary cap knowledge. Just going to tip the cap there as well. All right, let's talk a little Victor Oladipo, friends, because he also is a rental. He's in the final year of his contract with the Rockets. There is a lot of interest in him around the league. Steven Silas said that Oladipo was at practice with the team today. Not that surprising. It's not like a guy's going to get...
He showed up for work.
Right.
Yes. Congratulations.
But, relevant that he's not already on a plane to somewhere else. And by the way, showing up for work is an accomplishment in today's professional
Yes, it
sports.
is.
So there you go.
Perk's here.
Robert, how much value do you think the Rockets can wring out of Victor Oladipo? Because, look, he's had the injury history. He's never quite gotten going this year, either with the Pacers or with Houston. But he is a trade chip for them.
He has a lot of talent and he has a lot of potential, but he's potentially can get hurt also. And that's the thing that a lot of guys are scary of. And the Rockets right now are pretty much stuck with him in my mind because if there was going to be an offer for Oladipo, it'd have been out there by now. He'd have been moved a long time ago when you was getting rid of all these other guys. But Oladipo can do some damage on a championship team. Like I would love to see him with someone like the Lakers because they, if you want to trade, and I love KCP, but this guy is a guy who can score more consistently than KCP in a situation like that. But the injury bug is just a scary thing because that wasn't just a minor injury. That was a devastating injury.
Yeah, and it's the value. It's like Bradley Beal and like Victor Oladipo. These are young players that are in the quote unquote prime of their career. So your value that you might want in return from them might be too much because Victor Oladipo could help a ton of pop. But we got a Woj bomb.
I was going to say, I need the Craig. Kathy, I need the Craig.
What do we got?
The problem is I have no issue interrupting you.
I have no problem.
The control room is nicer. It is official now, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. In fact, Rajon Rondo going to the Clippers. The whole panel, of course, was just talking about why they think this is good for the Clippers. But let's take that conversation to the next level. Robert, how much do you think this moves them up in terms of actual title contenders in the
one right now? Because I'm saying that only because LeBron is hurt. We don't know how bad LeBron is hurt. AD, we don't know what's going to happen with him. So right now, with this point guard, with Rondo coming there, they just got a lot of leadership on that court because I would love to be a fly on the wall and put him in that locker room because there's a lot of things that go on in the locker room that we hear about, but I know Rondo is going to take control and say, hey, the most important thing right now is to try to win a championship. We have the talent. We have the coaching staff. All we got to do is go out and put it and apply it on the court. Now we have the pieces to do that with Rondo, who's going to bring them together. He's that glue that they needed.
Well, and I look at the Denver Nuggets. I look at the Denver Nuggets and say that you needed to make a move, because if you tried to show up, and again, going against that Denver Nugget team that just got better, if you're trying to show up with, the same similar team, probably less talented in my opinion than last year, because Lou Williams hasn't been playing as great.
No.
I like Serge and I like the way Serge is playing, but I feel like, there's a difference between him and Montrez. So I just think that right now the Clippers are in that position, if you want to say that, because you don't know about the health of the two Laker stars. I think the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets, in my opinion, are the two teams that I would really look at to make those types of runs if it's not the Lakers.
All right, well, here is the deal officially. Lou Williams is involved. He is on his way to Atlanta.